my.
Hey, ghosts.
Early demise.
You think Agatha All Along couldn't get darker? Think again. Episode 5 hits hard. Witches on the run, betrayals, and a huge character reveal that'll leave you reeling. Agatha's facing her past, her coven's crumbling, and just when you think things can't get worse, a familiar face from WandaVision returns in a massive way. Ready to dive in? Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel, where we break down all the witchy drama, magic-filled chaos, and heart-stopping moments from Agatha All Along. Today we're diving deep into episode 5, and trust me, if you thought last week was heavy on the trauma and the mommy issues, this episode takes it to a whole new level. I mean, Agatha's history alone? Whew! Now, before we start this wild ride, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this episode is so full of twists, turns, and emotional gut punches, you won't want to miss what we'll be covering in future videos. Got it? Cool. Now let's jump into this beautiful disaster of an episode, where everything goes off the rails. And it's delicious. The Salem 7 are back with vengeance. Alright, so right out of the gate, we get a pretty epic scene featuring the Salem 7, and these guys are not messing around. If you remember, Agatha spared the children of her coven after killing their elders, which was a sweet move, until now. Those kids are all grown up, and they're back with an appetite for revenge. Their animal forms are creeping around the dark forest, whispering Agatha's name in the most haunting, skin-crawling way possible. Meanwhile, the Coven, totally unaware of the imminent danger, are all fast asleep. Now I've got to ask, who falls asleep at a magical slumber party in the middle of literal enemy territory? Rookie move, witches. Thankfully, Lilia, played to perfection by Patti LuPone, wakes up in a panic, realizing they've left the door open to the Witch's Road. Oops. At this point, the group starts scrambling. They want Lilia to tell them what she sees, and here's where Rio, my girl Aubrey Plaza, starts stirring the pot. Honestly, I'm convinced she'd thrive as a real housewife of the Witch's Road. She's always down for a little drama, encouraging Lilia to spill the tea with an edge that feels both playful and threatening. You've got to love her, right? But then, things take a dark turn. Lilia reveals that Agatha's mercy might have been a mistake because the children she spared have turned into feral creatures seeking revenge. That shift from aw cute to uh-oh murderers was so well done. The moral of the story? Mercy is overrated, at least according to Agatha. This scene sets the tone for the entire episode. Betrayal, vengeance, and a coven that's just barely holding it together. Jen, Sashir Zamata, is still salty about Agatha killing her coven, but Rio jumps in to defend Agatha because, after all, Agatha's own mother tried to execute her. Murdering people for that level of trauma is totally understandable, right? At least in this world. The Coven takes flight. Literally. As the Salem 7 closes in, our favorite group of witches has to think fast. Teen, played by Joe Locke, suggests they escape using brooms, and what follows is one of my favorite scenes in the whole episode. The Coven collectively turns their noses up at the idea of using brooms, calling them a basic symbol of female domesticity. And honestly, I felt that shade in my soul. Who knew brooms could be so basic? But when push comes to shove, they don't really have a choice. The Salem 7 are hot on their tail, and the witches are forced to grab the brooms and perform a ritualistic exchange. They literally fly together, or not at all. It's a clever touch that reinforces the Coven's bond, even in the middle of all their internal conflicts. What follows is this breathtaking shot of the witches flying through the night sky against a glowing moon. It's pure magic, visually stunning, and the joy on their faces is so infectious. For a moment, you can see that Agatha, even with all her baggage, feels free. But as always, there's tension. She keeps glancing at Rio, like she's waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then, of course, everything falls apart. The witch's road forces them down, and they start plummeting. Panic sets in, except for Rio, who's laughing like a total maniac. Classic Rio. One of the Salem Seven spits out a swarm of bees to try and block their path, but the Coven pushes through. They're witches after all. Bees are no match for them. Agatha's trial. Blood moon and 80s slumber party vibes. The witches manage to make it to a cabin, and here's where things get really interesting. The cabin has this killer 80s slumber party theme. Shout out to the production designers again. But don't let the cute vibes fool you. This cabin is the setting for Agatha's trial, and it's about to get real. Rio, ever the perceptive one, spots the blood moon decorations and immediately knows that this is Agatha's moment. The blood moon? When the veil between the living and the dead is thinnest. Creepy, right? Teen, bless his heart, asks why it's not Lilia's trial, since she's the one who reads time and people. And here's the kicker. Lilia admits that talking to the dead is a con. Yikes. All this time she's been faking it. Now, we've seen some trials on this show, but none like this one. There's a Ouija board, and Teen starts reading off the rules like it's a casual sleepover game. No using it alone, no talking over each other, no taunting the spirits, and, this is key, never take your hand off the board. Otherwise, you'll release a spirit. Agatha isn't thrilled about figuring out which spirit is waiting for her, and who would be. But she tries to play it cool, cracking jokes as usual. She even fakes being possessed by Mrs. Hart. And let me just say, Catherine Hahn nails Deborah Jo Rupp's mannerisms perfectly. It's hilarious, and I was laughing right alongside Rio, who calls her out almost immediately. It's classic Agatha, using humor to mask her fear. But then, things take a darker turn. When Agatha finally sits down to contact a spirit for real, the board starts to move faster and faster. It's spelling out her name, and we all know that can't be good. The room goes dark, the lights flicker, and we hear these terrifying screams filling the air. This is when the trial starts to get really intense. The witches are on edge, and so was I. The ghost of Evanora, the ultimate mommy issue. As if things weren't chaotic enough, Evanora, Agatha's mother, appears. And wow, she is not here for a warm reunion. If you thought Agatha's mommy issues were just background noise, think again. Evanora goes all in, calling the Coven fools for following Agatha and accusing her of being evil from the moment she was born. It's brutal. Evanora straight up tells Agatha that she should have killed her the moment she was born. Ouch. I don't know about you, but this moment hit hard. We see Agatha begging the Coven not to leave her, saying she can be good. But the echoes of that WandaVision flashback are impossible to ignore. This is exactly what she pleaded for back then, and it's heartbreaking to see her still wrestling with that same desperation. And just when you think things couldn't get worse for Agatha, Evanora possesses her. The Coven seems torn. There's a flicker of sympathy, but it's not enough to stop what happens next. The power shift. Billy Maximoff emerges. In the middle of all this chaos, Alice steps up and blasts Agatha with her magic, expelling Evanora from her body. Agatha, in true Agatha fashion, immediately begins siphoning Alice's power. But just as this is happening, Teen notices something strange. The Ouija board is spelling out Nicholas Scratch. Then, a small boy's voice calls out, telling Agatha to stop. It's haunting and eerie, but also kind of sad. Unfortunately, Agatha doesn't stop in time. By the time she realizes what's happening, Alice is gone. The Coven is devastated, but there's no time to grieve. A staircase appears, signaling the end of the trial, but no one's in a rush to leave. Teen is furious. He's devastated that Alice, the one trying to protect Agatha, is dead. And here's where everything shifts. He turns on Agatha, saying that all she cares about is power. Agatha, for her part, tries to explain that she couldn't control it. But Teen's not buying it. And honestly, Neither am I. The confrontation is chilling, with Agatha laughing in his face and whispering, "You're so much like your mother." And just like that, the dynamic changes. Teen's magic crackles with blue energy, and the power struggle between them reaches a breaking point. And then, the reveal. Teen isn't just anyone. He's Billy Maximoff. His identity as Wiccan is unveiled in this moment, and it left me shook. I had goosebumps. The crown that forms on his head is a jaw-dropping moment. He's taking his place as one of the most powerful magical beings in the world. The music swells, the atmosphere gets electric, and everything changes. What comes next? So, there you have it. Episode 5 of Agatha All Along is packed with emotional turmoil, epic power battles, and a shocking character reveal that I did not see coming. Billy Maximoff is here, and the game has officially changed. The entire dynamic between him and Agatha? It's going to be wild. But what did you think? Were you as shook as I was by Billy's reveal? And how do you think this power shift will play out in the coming episodes? I want to hear all your theories, so drop them in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. There's so much more magic to come, and I'm already counting down the